Hey guys, what's going on? This is Ed from VinylAlbumCovers.com. I think you remember me, don't you? Anyway, welcome back to another edition of Slept On. You know what we do with Slept On. We talk about songs that you might have missed, albums you might have missed, even artists that you might have missed. You didn't miss the artist, but you did miss the song and you did miss the album. Shame, shame. Everybody knows your name. I'm just kidding. Um, Please forgive my absence. I should address that real quick. I know I've been out for a bit. Um, what can I tell you? Life comes at you fast, and I kind of get two-pieced by a couple of things. Um, a little of it health, okay, a lot of it health, and then some other things too. So I'm not out of it. Um, I'm not sure there is any getting out of it. In fact, there isn't any getting out of the health part of it anyway. And sadly, I just kind of have to deal with it. We all go through things like this, right? This is nothing new. It happens. Um, so yeah, I'm not out of it, but darn it, I'm here. I wanted to do this episode. I've been promising it to you for a very long time. I put the picture of the single on Twitter on a cold winter day back in 1855, I think it was. And see, I can still joke. I still have my sense of humor. It's still here. I'm cool. I'm chilling. But I did want to get to this. So it is very nice to be back, making videos again, and hopefully I'll be able to keep them going consistently. I'll do my best. The human body does what it does, so I'll do my best. I can promise you that, because it is fun for me to do it, and I love getting to interact with you guys, and all the things that come with making content like this are fun for me, and I hope they're fun for you too. So I'm going to do my best to make some fun here. So let's get into this. So we're going to talk today about Mint Condition. You guys remember Mint Condition, don't you? They gave us Breaking My Heart, Pretty Brown Eyes, Forever in Your Eyes. They had a thing for eyes. Um, what kind of man would I be? I'm very much doing this off the top of my head. The multi-platinum selling hit Are You Free? Okay, that's a joke. That song didn't do so well. They've joked about that themselves. Um, yeah, they've given us an awful lot of music. You Send Me Swinging. Both the original and the remix are fire to this day. Um, but so let's start here. I have a little bit of a cheat sheet here, but I'm as you saw, because I wasn't looking down, I'm going to run off a lot of memory here too. But they released a record back in 1995 called Definition of a Band. That's the one that had What Kind of Man Would I Be? And You Don't Have to Hurt No More. How could I forget about that one? They are great with a slow jam. They really are. And they definitely know how to play to those strengths. But so anyway, they released the record, and unfortunately, somewhere in there, um, I think it was just prior to the release of the record. Of course, their record label, their initial record label was Perspective Records. Perspective Records was formed and run by Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. We know who they are. They even got involved in they're with the Time. They were with the Time initially, and just an absolutely incredible production duo, one of the best to ever do it. But they also had this record label called Perspective, and the Mo Money soundtrack came out on it, and a bunch of other things. Lisa Keith put an album out on it, Low Key, etc., etc. So, and Mint Condition. The first few records came out on Perspective, but before this record could come out, they left. Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis left Perspective Records, and so if they're not there, guess what else isn't there? Perspective Records. So while the record label, if you buy the album, while it tells you that the record label is Perspective Records, it absolutely is not. It was actually, all of the distribution and the promotion was actually handled by A&M Records. Not a bad way to go. I mean, it's not like they didn't have other R&B acts. I mean, they had Janet Jackson, right? At one time, anyway. It's not like they don't know how to handle an R&B act. I mean, they had John McClane, and he knows what he's doing. And so the record did okay. It didn't do great, but it did okay. I mean, it had those singles, both of the singles I mentioned, You Don't Have to Hurt No More and What Kind of Man Would I Be, both did very, very well. Let Me Be the One didn't do as well. But, this other stuff did well. It was, it wasn't a disaster, but they didn't want to stay on A&M Records. That's not the party that they meant to come to. So they ended up leaving A&M Records and moving over to Elektra Records. And so 3 years later, roughly 3 years later, almost exactly 3 years later, in fact, we end up with an album called Life's Aquarium. And my gosh, Mint Condition has never had a problem conjuring an album or anything like that, but man, this thing's good. It's just got banger after banger after banger on it. I mean, Be Like That Sometimes is cool. Pretty Lady, which is a duet with Charlie Wilson. It's like Stokely and Charlie sound like they were just made to sing together. If You Love Me is beautiful. The lyric is a little first draft, but the music is fantastic. And I mean, dig the Claire Fisher string arrangement on it. My gosh, I mean, just Claire Fisher. Like, he was the guy that he's been doing string arrangements for decades. I mean, he used to do them for like the Hi-Lows, for instance. He worked with the Hi-Lows a fair bit, and did a lot of stuff back, even in the 50s and 60s. But you might know him most for doing string arrangements for Prince, and that includes, all of his offshoots, like The Time, which is really, again, just Prince and The Family, which again is really just Prince. You get the point. But he did all the string arrangements for that. If you haven't heard, I have to tell you, if you haven't heard The Family, St. Paul and Jelly Bean and Eric Leeds and Susanna Melvoin and Jerome Benton, like that's that band. It was a very, very brief offshoot that Prince created, and Prince wrote all the songs and played all the instruments and even sang backgrounds on a lot of it. And left St. Paul to kind of do all the leads precisely the way that Prince did. But if you listen to that record, they do the original version of Nothing Compares to You, which Sinead O'Connor had the hit on. And her version is very pretty, but it's kind of more like a lament. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think it sounds really, really good, and she was clearly into it. But the Family's version is, I mean, my gosh, I mean, it just, I mean, it's a whole other thing. It sounds like a funeral, like they're holding a funeral pyre, for this woman that, isn't in St. Paul's life anymore. Just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. The string arrangement will blow your mind. Eric Leeds sax playing, that triple tracked sax solo, it just feels like pain and anguish, and it's brilliant. But it's really the string arrangement that takes that thing home. So that's who Claire Fisher is, and he did the string arrangement for If You Love Me, which is absolutely gorgeous. But so anyway, let me cut to the chase here. So Elektra releases Life's Aquarium, releases one single from it that does extremely well. It went number 30 on the Hot 100. So what? But it went number 5 R&B hip hop, which isn't bad at all. But then they released Is This Pain Our Pleasure, which was the second tune to come off the record. And that I don't have the numbers on that one exactly because I don't see them. No, that's not true. I do. That one peaked at number 42 on the R&B charts. 42. Like, Elektra stopped trying. That's what that is. They just stopped trying. Sylvia Rhone and crew stopped trying. There's no getting around that. And that was the only other song released from the album. And there were plenty of other things that would have worked. And Just the Man for You is gorgeous. My gosh. I forgot about that one. Such an amazing, amazing tune. But anyway, we're going to... I need to tell you this too. So in mint condition. So at this point, we had all the members of the band. This is the last album that featured every member of the band. But we have Stokely, obviously, Stokely Williams, who's the singer. We've got Carrie Lewis, who's playing basically keyboards and drum machines. Homer Odell, who's playing drum program, keyboards, guitar, backing vocals. Yes, I'm reading it. Lawrence Waddell, keyboards, Fender Rhodes. I love a good Fender Rhodes. And you can tell they had a very good Fender Rhodes for this tune we're about to hear. But, even played the accordion. Jeff Allen, who's the sax player. Who can forget those sax lines and Pretty Brown Eyes? I mean, they make the song. He also played Rhodes, other keyboards, and sang background. Ricky Kinchin is the amazing bass player. Chris Daddy Dave played drums on some things. Stokely probably played most of them, but he also played bass, synth, and keyboards, and guitar and bass, and just all kinds of things. So that's kind of the state of the band at this point. And there are other people who were involved on vocals and added additional vocals and so on and so forth. But that was what the band was at this point. And this is the last time that would happen. Like I said, Carrie would leave for production work. And the band, as it was here without Carrie, still exists to this day. But one song in particular from me stands out tremendously. It's a song called This Day, This Minute, Right Now. And so what we're going to do right now is that was so corny. I'm ashamed. You should be ashamed of me. Is we're going to listen to that song, and then we're going to talk a bit about it. And I will not interrupt it. I haven't forgotten the rules. I'm not interrupting anything. I promise. I got you. So here we go. This is This Day, This Minute, Right Now by Mint Condition in 3, 2, 1.
Come here, sweetheart. Something I need to say. And I want to share with you right here. Right now. Come on, walk with me. I gotta tell you how I'm feeling. I gotta make you realize. So let me tell you what I'm thinking. I need to have you by my side, yeah. You give me something to believe in. And now I promise on this day I'm gonna love you always. Take my soul, I give to you. This day, this minute, right now. This moment mark the day I pledge my love for you. This day,
Delay
this
on the Fender
minute.
Rhodes. I'm sorry, but I had to. It's delicious. Moving from left to right.
This day, this minute, right now. This moment mark the day I pledge my love for you. This day, this minute, right now. I must admit you've got me weakening. You know you turn me on and on. The irony is that in weakness, it's still your love that makes me strong. Gotta say that I'm so grateful to have this chance today to look into your eyes and say, my soul I give to this day, this minute, right now. This moment mark the day I pledge my love for you.
especially.
So won't you come stay this minute? Stay this minute right
Like, what was that string arrangement? What he does that? That was Claire too, of course. I know I talked a little. I'm sorry. I love that song. But what? I mean, there were parts of it that were almost atonal. I mean, they're not, but it's like Claire is so good, the goodest at like poking out and then going right back in line, and poking out a little and going back in line. It's just what an incredible string arrangement at the end. That was really, really fun. It had nothing to do, very little to do with the chord changes that were going on above it. Claire just kind of did what he wanted, and it sounded absolutely delicious. That's so his style. I mean, he did it for Prince, and he certainly did it here on this tune. It's amazing. Stokely could sing the phone book and I would buy it. I mean, you saw me. I was kind of loving it. The pocket in this band is just disgusting. The groove that they generate. I mean, there's a reason they've lasted this long, kids, and they're absolutely amazing. That song is just absolutely perfect. It goes on for a minute, but ask me if I care. Like, the tune itself, what was it? I think it's like 5 minutes and 17 seconds, but I don't care. I mean, when it's that good, go on for 10 minutes. I couldn't care less, truly. Just an amazing, amazing song. If you have not checked out Life's Aquarium by Mint Condition, and a lot of people didn't, you should. It's that good. There's just so much right about this album, and it's such a shame that it didn't move like it should have. Because the record itself peaked at number 7 on the R&B charts, which is decent. The kind of all album charts, it peaked at number 64, which isn't good. And then for the year-end charts, it got to number 98 on the R&B chart. So it's not so good. But the album is great. The album has no apologies to make. That song certainly doesn't either. I mean, that's because the song itself was written by Lawrence Waddell. I think that's his best work. Absolutely love that Rhodes intro. It just goes through like a million key changes before it finally settles. Just beautifully done. Love the acoustic guitar. Homer's a great player, and I'm 90% sure that that's him. I'm 90% certain that that's him. And it's just great playing, nice touch, great feel. Of course, the bass work at the end was just ridiculous. Just completely off the chain. Great song. Anyway, I have blabbered on long enough, but I guess that's what I'm here to do anyway. But thank you very much for watching yet another video. I hope you enjoy this one. It is nice to be back. Hopefully I sound mostly like myself. I think it felt good to do this. It was nice to do this again. So you'll get more from me, I promise. But until we see each other in the next video, keep listening to great music.